What's up, everybody?
What's going on, everyone?
Hey, how you doing? Happy Wednesday, August 19th.
Hump day.
Hump day.
Day. Seriously, the song's stuck in my head.
It's so good. It's such a banger. It's such a banger.
It really is.
So today we're going to get into some Baldur's Gate 3 news. We're going to touch on bad news with Vampire the Mascarade Bloodlines 2, and also touch on the Xbox Series X's new dashboard.
Gonna discuss a little bit on the Sea of Thieves summer event. Gonna be talking about maybe the return of Prince of Persia. And then we are going to be rounding off our reaction to yesterday's Nintendo Indie World Showcase.
So if you haven't seen that showcase yet, we haven't either, and we're going to be doing a live react, to see what the coolest games are, to see what these indie developers from around the world have to bring to Nintendo.
But let's get started and talk about this, because I think this is really big. Baldur's Gate 3 Early Access starts September 30th.
Which is coming up, and I'm glad to hear that this isn't a delay or anything. This is just early access is going to be starting.
It's official.
It's official. So Larian Studios will release Baldur's Gate 3 in early access on September 30th. The studio announced during a live stream presentation Tuesday. It won't meet the best case August launch scenario Larian had hoped for, but fans won't have to wait that much longer for the early access game to arrive on PC and Stadia, which you were all waiting for.
Right? Those teraflops. So the early access version of Baldur's Gate 3 will feature 5 origin characters as well as a player customized character. At launch, players will get to access Asterion, who is an elf vampire rogue, Gale, who is a human wizard, Lae'zel, who is a Githyanki warrior, Shadowheart, which is an half-elf cleric, and Will, a human warlock. And more characters will be announced throughout early access. Larian was saying this in their news release.
Players will be able to experience an early version of the game's first act. Larian Studios creative director Swen Vink outlined the scope of early access and how the game's first act compares to the early access release of Divinity Original Sin 2. So we have some numbers comparing the two early access games for you.
And so here is what it looks like. So the number of encounters, it was 22 inside of DOS 2 versus 80. And then now we have 17,600 voice lines in Divinity. But in this early access, there's going to be 45,980 lines of dialogue in just the early access.
Which is wild, and so for characters, there were 142 characters in Divinity Original Sin 2 and 596 in Baldur's Gate 3. In regards to spells and actions, there were 69 spells and actions in Divinity Original Sin and 146 in Baldur's Gate 3.
And we know that Baldur's Gate will launch on Windows PC via Steam, and the full version will also be available on Google Stadia, as Kaisa was saying.
So I've never played any of the Baldur's Gate games, but...
Did you play Divinity?
I did not play Divinity either. But looking at what's on the screen, this game looks so good.
Yeah, so the CGI, the visuals of this game, in terms of the storytelling, they're amazing. Hey, and by the way, Silly One, thank you so much for the shout out. KDA, welcome, welcome, welcome. The gameplay is that top-down, almost kind of like third
Diablo?
person high, sort of like Diablo, yeah, but it's still it's still a it's an RPG. Pick your choose your action. You have action points. It's got that vibe to it. It's like your authentic RPG experience. But these games, Divinity is it's crazy deep. And I mean, just seeing 45,000, almost 46,000 lines of dialogue in just the early access, which isn't anywhere near the entire game. Lets you know how much time has been put into this game in terms of amount of content that is available.
I know this game has been really hyped up, just, hearing those stats about what, this game holds for the early access only, as well as seeing these cinematics right now, I think, generates a lot of hype. I think people are going to be really excited. It seems like there's going to be no delays since September 30th is coming right up, so the game better be finished by now.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited to see, in a couple months, what the reviews are going to be about this game.
Yeah, the great thing that I think, and whether they figured this out early on or not, or they were just like, we're going to do this Mind Flayer storyline, is that there's been a huge influx in interest in lithids, in Cthulhu, in just that whole storytelling of these, Mind Flayers. Mm-hmm. And this choice, wherever they placed it in the stages of development, I would guess it was a few years ago before this interest started to rise up. So I think this is gonna come out at the right time, especially with that we have the H.P. Lovecraft TV show coming out, which is called like Lovecraft County. Mm-hmm. And there are going to be a lot more, films and shows around that. We always know that Stranger Things is very much influenced by this kind of storytelling and these types of creatures. So I think this is also going to pull people in who are just getting drawn into that realm of fantasy lore that's been like oversaturated, but not in a bad way.
I think so too. They've kind of, caught the wave, and, they've been working on this game for a while, but to also be, in the Mind Flayer kind of theme, as you said, with Stranger Things, it's like, it's what the current era is, a lot of that kind of content, a lot of those kinds of themes. So I think this also comes out, at a good time. And also some of the details that we've seen, I mean, like dragons, orc-like looking creatures are always going to be, something that interests gamers. I think this is going to attract a lot of people who've never played these games before, such as myself. And hopefully it's going to be, satisfying for returning fans.
And let's remember when Baldur's Gate 2 came out, we're talking 2013. So there is a huge community, and you have Divinity that satisfies while you waited for, Baldur's Gate 3. But there was a huge community from 2013 that's, I believe, been patiently waiting, knowing that Baldur's Gate 3 was going to be this amazing experience if it's anywhere near like Baldur's Gate 2. Mm-hmm. That now this kind of like build up and this anticipation, it's going to draw people over. Divinity was a free game on the PlayStation Store for a little bit of time. I know it's taken a lot more players, especially now during COVID, mm-hmm. That are sitting and like, I just want to have these like really deep storytelling RPG experiences. And both Baldur's Gate 2 as well as Divinity Original Sin 2 are games that will lead you into, hopefully, if you like them, wanting to play Baldur's Gate 3.
Right, I hope so. These are great games to get into, especially during this time. I feel like the more we talk about games, the more I'm like, oh, I feel like I don't have time to play all of the ones that we're reporting on. They come out so fast, but hopefully, a lot of people will be able to experience this, and, maybe we'll be able to dive a little bit deeper than they usually would.
Yeah, silly one. I believe there is, and it just came out maybe like a couple hours ago, there is 4K footage of Baldur's Gate 3 in action showing a very specific sequence. So you can find that. So we can maintain your hype because, trust me, that gameplay footage, that footage delivers.
So to get into our next story, which is pretty bad news for a game that I was really looking forward to, is that Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 has lost both its creative director and its lead writer.
This is rough. Oh my God, this is another one of those games people have been waiting for. The first game did so well. So as we know, last week, Paradox Interactive announced that Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 had been delayed to 2021. Now we actually may have a better idea as to why the move was necessary, because today Bloodlines 2 developer Hardsuit Labs announced that the game's creative director Kai Clooney and lead narrative designer Brian Mitsoda officially left the project.
In a statement, they said lead narrative designer Brian Matsuda and creative director Kai Clooney are no longer part of the team at Hardsuit Labs. This was a joint decision made by the leadership of Hardsuit Labs and Paradox Interactive. We appreciate and value the contributions of Brian and Kai, which were instrumental in establishing the game's storyline and dark tone, and have helped to ensure that we are making a true successor to the iconic Bloodlines. We wish them both the best in their future endeavors, reads the statement.
So Kai Clooney will be replaced as creative director by Alexander Mandrake, an Ubisoft veteran who contributed to early entries in the Assassin's Creed and Far Cry franchises. He's mainly worked as a freelance consultant for the last decade, so it's somewhat interesting to see him jumping back into a AAA game that's being developed.
The statement reads, Alexandra Mandrake has come aboard as creative consultant, filling the creative director role for Bloodlines 2 and will help us in the final stages of development. Alexander is committed to following the vision that is in place and successfully bringing Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, which is such a long title, to the fans. Alexander has been in the industry for more than 20 years and has worked on iconic franchises such as Assassin's Creed, Warhammer 40,000, Far Cry, and more. With a long history of shipping excellent franchises, we are excited with what Alexander brings to the game and the world of darkness, reads the statement from Hardsuit and Paradox.
I think we can easily say that it seems like something is just not right at Hardsuit Labs. And that being said, we hope that they can pull off Bloodlines 2, get it together, and deliver a satisfying experience. In the meantime, there would like to be some sort of display of actual gameplay just to prove that it is progressing. Can we get some form of like actually seeing it in action, not a pre-rendered or a preset gameplay like the one you're seeing here, but one that shows it in action right off the PC? Or the hardware. I don't know, but that could probably help curb some concerns that I'm sure are starting.
So Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 comes to PC, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, PS4, and PS5, hopefully sometime in 2021. But I hope this isn't going to be too much of a setback. It sounds like it might. You know, they've had some people come in to replace those that have left, but we don't know what happens. We don't know if there was, creative differences, if it was a bad work environment, if there was something going on. I doubt that, the creative director and lead writer just decided to walk away from this game for no reason. I doubt we're going to hear exactly why, but I am still very curious.
Yeah, I'm taking the kind of mindset that there was some difference, something that occurred with where maybe the overall vision from Hardsuit Labs and maybe the distributor, they were all coming to this place of like, hey, we need to take the game maybe in this direction, or let's do this. And these individuals were like, no, we don't want to do that. And they probably took that and said, hey, so then it's probably best that we part ways. But the individuals that are the drivers of this entire vision are gone. And you're getting close to release, now a delay to still 1 year away, and they're gone. So these new people who step in, like this Mandrake, they have a lot to undertake stepping on and hopefully ensuring that it still comes out.
Right, they do. Thanks so much, Kane, for gifting a sub to Dramatic. Thanks so much.
Hey.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to, stay with the vision that the former creative director and lead writer already had. I'm thinking maybe there was a rift between the creative director and lead writers themselves. Maybe they couldn't come to an agreement. Maybe this was something like Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool versus Marvel. I think he wanted a lot of creative say over the film, and Marvel can't really let him walk away because he is Deadpool. And I think that was I heard that was a way that he was able to have a lot of sway in regards to that movie. I wonder if maybe they couldn't come to an agreement. This seems so late in the game to have a disagreement like this. It makes me worried that the end result is going to be a game that really does feel like it was created by, different leadership. Like something changed halfway through. I think during the Han Solo movie, like the directors changed for that movie, something like that. And fans could tell, watching the movie, you could tell that there was something, strange that happened, that it wasn't quite cohesive. And it does take away from the whole experience. I know it's way too late, in creating this game to remotely start over. But it does make me doubt that the end result is going to be as good as we hope for.
Yeah, it also makes me think of Ant-Man. Edgar Wright was originally attached to Ant-Man as writer-director. Director conflicts arose, and instead of, being a place of conflict and having to do something he didn't want to do, he still let them use his script, but he stepped down as director. Ant-Man was still an overall good film. You could still see, like, this is someone trying to do what Edgar Wright does.
Yeah.
And those moments, didn't hit all the time, but some did. So I want to hope that maybe this will be the kind of same transition. So much is already laid down. They can look at all of the game direction that's been put forward, ones that have already been developed, and they could just step in and do the best they can to still ensure that vision is met. Because otherwise, it would be terrible. Not only this game has been one a lot of people have been waiting for from the first one, but that they would delay, have new, heads of these departments come in and not take it in that direction that these fans who have been waiting patiently for ultimately feel, potentially let down.
Personally, I'm pretty forgiving when it comes to horror games that I want to play. I'm looking at the compass navigation on here and I'm already thinking like, oh no, like compass navigation in Skyrim is so terrible. I hope that,
Where is this point?
Oh my God.
How many times I was trapped on another side of a mountain because I couldn't figure out how to get inside? Because I was like, where is the entrance?
Right. Oh my God, that's so horrible. Like, hopefully it's going to be easier in like a cityscape because there isn't going to be like caves and mountains to navigate around. I'm pretty forgiving when it came to games like Call of Cthulhu, which came out a few years ago, which was terrible, but I still enjoyed it. There's a vampire game that I think you also played as well, VAMPYR, which I thought the storyline totally fell apart, but I still enjoyed it. So even if this game is bad, I think I'm still gonna enjoy it. I just like the vibes, the atmosphere, the themes, and that's enough to get me to have fun. But I, am a little skeptical that this is going to turn out as the knock out of the park that I hoped it would be.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like when you look at this game and you see the potential that it could be and what they've already shown off about it, it looks great and it looks like this world you want to kind of get lost in. We have to accept the fact that unfortunately when things like this shake up, it could mean that the final result isn't one that we're completely satisfied with. Even could mean that it may get delayed more and could suffer what a lot of games, if we go back and we look, unfortunately, we can go and look at next-gen consoles that were taking place years ago, and there were games that were announced where they just never came out. Right. Years went by, we never heard anything, and it was just like, oh yeah, you remember that game? And people were like, yeah, what happened? And you're just like, I know, right? I hope this isn't the case, but it could be.
I think it could be as well. I think it might happen. I'm sure there's a big transition period, getting everything over to this new leadership and getting them on board. And in the midst of it, I could also see this project being on hold for a while. What also strikes me is that there doesn't seem to be that many NPCs. I understand, this scene that we're seeing is like at nighttime and like an alleyway. There aren't going to be a lot of people. But when I do think of next-gen hardware, I think of, what you can do with NPCs, how if you're in a city, it should really feel like a city, unless it's like post-apocalyptic. So I think there's still maybe a bit of work to do with this game. I hope it doesn't get put on hold forever, but I wouldn't be surprised either if it did.
Yeah, we'll be keeping a close watch on the long title that is Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 and see what happens. Hopefully we get to see some gameplay. It'd be great to get a public statement from these new creative heads coming in and talking about it. I can't wait to see one of them maybe like sitting down and showing the gameplay off and maybe some of the new stuff that they've added or visions that they've decided to implement. That kind of stuff I think would be worth attacking for them marketing wise with this kind of what seems to be drama happening in just 2 weeks.
I think so too. Reassure us that this game isn't going to be forgotten about, that, it's still being actively worked on. I don't need a whole presentation like Cyberpunk 2077's Night City Wire, which is phenomenal. Like, I don't need anything of that, caliber to feel better, that this game is still something that, I'm going to invest my hype in.
Yeah, that's so true. We'll be Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. So on to our next topic. We've got some good news about the Xbox Series X. What?
Did DGN just report good news on the Xbox Series X? What? I can already hear the chat now.
Right, as its dashboard has a new rounded design and speed improvements.
So Microsoft is revealing the dashboard and software UI that it plans to use on the Xbox Series X. Software giant is mostly sticking to the same guide and interface that exists on the Xbox One today, with big promises of speed improvements and some new rounded UI elements.
While these new dashboard design changes will also be available on the Xbox One, the home section of the upcoming Xbox Series X console should load 50% faster than existing Xbox One consoles. Microsoft has also reduced the footprint of the home screen, guide, and store, so they use 40% less memory on the company's next-gen console.
And these speed improvements also mean that when you're switching between games on the Xbox Series X, the home screen will load a third faster than what exists today. The current Xbox dashboard has been a source of speed problems for what feels like years, but Microsoft has been gradually tweaking the overall UI and UX in recent months ahead of the Xbox Series X's launch.
Alongside the speed improvements, Microsoft is also focusing on more readable text with a rounded UI around elements and updated animations throughout the Xbox dashboard. This includes a big update to the Microsoft Store that testers are currently trying out ahead of the Xbox Series X launch in November. Microsoft's Xbox Guide interface has also been tweaked so it looks more rounded, with parties and chats now located in a single tab within the guide.
Guff's comment made me laugh. Sorry. There's just, yay, let's congratulate Xbox for doing the bare minimum.
Yay, Xbox.
So the sharing of game clips on an Xbox One has also been something that is very slow and frustrating. And Microsoft appears to be addressing this with its new dashboard and the quote-unquote Xbox experience. Now, when you capture a game clip on a console, it will be automatically sent to your phone to make it quick and easy to share with friends or on social networks, which is a feature I think is going to do very well.
All of the updates will be rolled out in the coming weeks, and the big speed improvements will really be noticeable with the Xbox Series X. Microsoft hasn't set an official date for the Xbox Series X yet, but the company is committed to launching its new console sometime in November. Personally, I think these visual updates look great. It feels very Spotify to me.
It does, yeah. I was trying to think of what it was, and you said it. I was like, that's right. It does. Yeah. It feels like that Spotify layout, which is, there's strength in making that choice of like, this feels familiar. Oh, I know how to navigate something like this, you know? So I think this is a great choice.
I think so too. And the kind of grid of games also kind of feels like the Nintendo Switch, how that's set up there. I also agree. I think it's a good choice. I think all good, user interface design is things you don't really notice, is things you can navigate easily without being confused about where to find anything. Yeah. And this looks really clean. I think this looks really good.
Yeah, I also take into account the push of the xCloud, the Game Pass. This feels like it could work on mobile very easily the way you look at it. Mm-hmm. So if you have an interface on a mobile gaming platform that is fancy and feels extremely easy to use and familiar, you're pulling a lot of people just from that who are like, oh, I know how this works. So it really does seem like Microsoft is going, hey, this is where we're going to do best. And this is where we're going to corner an area of the market that Sony isn't really focusing on. If you want to look at what Sony's focusing on, they're trying to be like the IMAX of gaming, the top tier experience of console, gaming, and also virtual reality. And Microsoft's like, that's great. We're going to handle this market, which is very strong when you look at how much money mobile gaming and potentially xCloud or cloud gaming could have for these companies.
That's true. I really like describing PlayStation as the IMAX of gaming because sometimes I don't need IMAX. I don't need the big experience. I don't need the Tempest audio. I'm just there to watch a movie. I'm just there to play a game. Maybe
I don't need all this other stuff.
No, I think Xbox should start to market itself more like that. I think the first right step is this interface. It just makes it look clean, approachable, fun, cool to use, something I could see myself easily getting on board with, regardless of, how much or how little I play games.
Yeah, and the other thing too is like the speed improvements. I believe something for me that began to happen with even with the PlayStation 4, it's like trying to upload a clip to YouTube is a headache. Trying to get it going from basically it was like upload the clip, download the clip, get it to my phone so I could post it. I have to go through all these steps to do that. Whereas now what they're saying is yeah, we'll get it to your phone right away so you can share it. And that is a feature just unto all content creators. How much time is that going to save them to crank out these gaming clips or showing off or doing whatever it is that they want to do with this footage? That speed of having less time for workflow speed to increase is only going to make them go, yeah, this is where I want to be gaming because it's just quicker.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's great for creators and it's great for, hobbyists who, post clips or people posting clips to their friends. Usually when I'm posting something to like Instagram or taking a clip through OBS, I have to like change the format, maybe make it a lower quality. I usually send it to myself via Twitter DM and download it. Twitter doesn't let you save something, so then I have to email it, and it's weird to download video through email on your phone, and it's like, it's a whole mess.
It really is.
It really is.
And you're like, I've been doing this for 45 minutes.
Right?
What?
And I do stuff like this all the time. So if I'm, I'm not a streamer, maybe it's the first, maybe I do this twice a year, I'm probably not going to like sit down and figure out that whole process and just be like, whatever, and it's for the benefit of, Xbox and PlayStation for people to share their clips, to share these games, it's free marketing to an extent. Make it easy for them.
And that is what Microsoft is doing. That's what it looks like they're doing with their UI design. I'm excited to see what Sony comes out with and shows how theirs is going to compare. If it's going to be the same, it better be the same. Like, that's the thing. If you're the IMAX of gaming, you better be delivering on these areas too. So Sony, now the ball's in your court to show off what it is that you can do in your UI, and how quick are we going to get our gaming clips from your system?
I'm curious. We need an update. Now Sony has to respond to Xbox this time.
Tell us now.
Tell us! So, did you want to tear through another story or two or go right into the Nintendo showcase?
Actually, can we jump into this Prince of Persia conversation?
Yes!
Because this one's really cool to me. And then we'll do the Nintendo showcase.
So, Prince of Persia could be returning later this year, and these kinds of leaks and teasers that we've gotten remind me of what happened with Fable, where we were wondering if it was going to actually come out, but since Fable, was announced, I have hopes that Prince of Persia will be too.
Yeah, so this is one of those games, kind of like that SOCOM rumor that you're like, oh wait, is this series going to come back? This would be great on next gen. So there is something that has been discovered recently, as the game briefly appeared on a Central American site known as Max, but since then was removed, and it was simply titled Prince of Persia Remake. And the title was shown for launching for the PS4 and the Nintendo Switch, with a release window scheduled for November.
The credibility of its arrival has been increased, with known industry insider Jason Schreier noting its discovery on Twitter. Schreier tweeted, "Video game retailers sure love leaking Ubisoft's surprise announcements," which suggests that he knew about this development and knew that this was supposed to be a surprise.
What are you doing, Jason? You're supposed to leaking this stuff to us. Come on. Come on. So earlier this year, Ubisoft registered a website for the franchise with princeofpersia6.com. And we did talk about this a few months ago when it was like, this could be happening, but we don't think so. And it was noticed right around that same time that Valhalla's site went live just hours before its official release.
And Far Cry 6 was also uncovered a few days before its unveiling, when a PlayStation Store listing for the game was spotted and quickly removed, so this is pretty reminiscent of that, too.
And we gotta take into account, it has been 10 years since the last mainline Prince of Persia entry with the Forgotten Sands. Little of the franchise has emerged since then. However, Ubisoft is working on a virtual reality escape room for the series known as the Dagger of Time.
Which sounds really cool, by the way. So with the absence of E3 this year due to the coronavirus pandemic, and it was canceled for the second time as of yesterday's tweet, which I'm not getting over that joke. I've been saying that as many times as I can. Ubisoft has begun hosting live streams to announce its upcoming titles. The next presentation from Ubisoft has been confirmed for September, after CEO Yves Guillemot noticed that Ubisoft has a lot to showcase in the coming months.
This is a series that I believe needs a revival. I think it was one of those series that I loved to play. I mean,
This
I
was
just
great.
loved failing just to reverse time because it was just so cool to see. And if they bring this back and they add, you know, these layers of potential elements that are going to happen with next gen. I know it said like PS4 and Nintendo Switch, but I want to believe if you're delaying this announcement and you haven't said anything, like there is some next gen version of this game coming out, because this is one of those IPs that could do very well with all of those features they're saying that they'll have.
Thank you so much, Kai, for the dono. We appreciate it.
Kai.
Thank you. I agree. I want to see this game come back. This game was so good. It's a little bit, you know, it feels a little bit Assassin's Creed-y, where you can just like, you kind of can monkey around, you know, the walls and climb all these things. So you could see there's a lot of like wall running up them, running alongside them. This game is so fun. It needs to be brought back. I think it would be massively successful, especially if it has, you know, a big visual overhaul and it's marketed.
Can you imagine that ray tracing? I mean, just seeing what they were already doing then in that time with the lights coming in through, but imagine that with ray tracing. I would be just so, I know my mind would be like, oh my God, I could have never imagined ever seeing this.
Right? Like, even if there was just a visual remaster of this game with ray tracing, I think would be cool. But yeah, to see the whole thing, you know, redone, Prince of Persia 6.com, hopefully, you know, that website is real. I would totally, you know, play this game again. This game is I think like it's a must play if we're talking about, you know, OG games.
Yeah, OG games. If you haven't played this, if there's a source for you somewhere that's got it, I don't know who's still hosting these titles.
Yeah, I don't know.
go find it and play it. It's worth it just to be like, oh wow, this was actually really good for the time and still stands out. I have a lot of fond memories from this game.
This game was just so good. So maybe in a few days we're going to get an update. I mean, you know, some of this information was leaked. It seems like Jason Schreier, you know, had the intel that this game would come out. I don't know when we might anticipate its release, but I think an announcement is, you know, already in itself like a huge move.
Yeah, this is exciting times. And this next story is one that we have been excited about, because we're going to do just a full-on reaction to Nintendo's Indie World Showcase. So for all you Nintendo fans out there who haven't yet seen this event, we're going to just go ahead and show it to you live here on DGN. And
we're going to have our live reaction with you. Marone, if you got the clip up, I was going to wait to press play at the same time as you so we can sync up when we react to it. I know Zoom audio kind of sucks. So I didn't want to try piping it in through there. So let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready. You hit play, you tell me, and I'll play at the same time.
All right, 3, 2, 1, play. This says release dates are subject to change.
Basically, yeah. So we have to take that into account. Oh, I'm like perfectly lined up.
Oh, really? Oh, great.
Yeah.
For once.
This is great.
Oh, I'm already excited. Buckle up, everyone. Get your popcorn. This is like a 25-minute video, so we're just going to be chilling, you know, watching this with you. Yeah, it did feel kind of like Dexter's Lab.
Yeah, a little, yeah. Oh, he's got the one red eye, the one green eye.
Yeah.
I'm already liking the music.
I like the animation style, too. He's so cool. Who is this guy?
Yeah, who is this badass?
Hades! Oh, I've heard about this game.
Nice. Just on the intro alone.
Our small team at Supergiant Games, I am really excited to announce our roguelike dungeon crawler Hades is coming to Nintendo Switch. You play as the immortal Prince of the Underworld, trying to escape hell. And each time you die, it's like coming home. You advance the story, get stronger, and gear up for your next escape attempt. It's a game you can sink dozens of hours into, and if you've already done so on PC, you'll be able to transfer your progress to the Nintendo Switch version with cross-saves. So
nice.
like the fast-paced action, rich atmosphere, and character-driven storytelling of our past titles like Bastion and Transistor, we think you'll find something to love in Hades.
No wonder he's so
Hi,
cool. He was
everyone,
Hades.
And welcome to Nintendo. I look forward at some games making their way to Nintendo Switch.
Is audio okay
I'm
for everyone
Marika,
in chat?
And I'm Tyler.
And that was a look into the Greek mythology-inspired dungeon crawler,
Tartarus.
Hades, from Supergiant Games.
In this game, you'll ally with members of the Greek pantheon, wield truly legendary weapons, and fight your way through the underworld as you attempt to escape the god of
Love
the dead.
the art style.
Unleash the
Yeah,
fury
it looks
of
so
Olympus
cool.
when Hades makes its system debut on Nintendo Switch this fall.
Nice. A new roguelite to
Wow,
play on the
Arco,
Switch.
Are we back in the 90s? It's so radical.
With all of its groovy GIFs, animated mouse pointers, and amazingly useful toolbars, Hypnospace
Oh,
Outlaw
wow.
is a portal back to the early
Ooh.
days of the internet.
What is this?
I love this!
Scour the weirdest corners of the net, dodge computer viruses, and hunt down hackers and other virtual villains as you seek to crack cases on the digital streets
Oh my
of
God.
Hypnospace.
This is
You
great.
won't have to wait long to start cruising through cyberspace.
Teentopia.
Hypnospace Outlaw launches August 27th
Wow.
on Nintendo Switch.
Coming
oh, wow,
up.
next week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Purchase the game
That's awesome.
or download a demo of it
Oh,
from
demos
Nintendo
too,
eShop later
yes.
today.
Demos available. Wow.
More
Aw.
of these games look like cartoons.
Yeah. Oh, hey, these are just my animal friends. Nothing to worry about. I love how the cat is still a cat.
Yeah, yeah. The other animals are like very human-like,
Yes.
but not the cat.
Yeah, I saw that land shark too, Kai. That was Shark Man. You're so dapper.
Aww.
Where'd the friends go?
Yeah. I want to watch this anime. Like, I want to watch this cartoon.
Yeah.
Spiritfarer.
At first, I almost had said Spirit Father. I was like, what?
Oh.
It's fairer. I was like, yes, it makes a little bit more sense.
In this cozy management game,
Wow.
make some lasting
Management
memories
game.
before you have to say a final farewell to those not long for this world.
Aww.
As a Spiritfarer Stella, help the spirits of the dead make their way into the afterlife.
There's a
by
lot of
transporting
games
them
with like a
across the
death
seas
theme
on
lately.
your handcrafted
Yeah.
ferry.
Very true.
Befriend passengers, customize
Oh,
your
wow.
boat,
Cool.
That's cool.
explore an imaginative world, or just go wherever the wind takes you. While you may be transporting your spirit friends to the afterlife, it doesn't mean you can't have a little fun.
Little
along
rhythm
the way.
game.
Yeah.
You'll be able to set sail very soon, as Spiritfarer makes its maiden voyage on Nintendo Switch later
Pretty
today.
cool. Oh, wow.
Cool, now it's out.
It's already out.
Oh, what's this? I like this music. Little bit Nintendogs feeling.
Does.
Maroon,
Just
do you
makes you
ever-
happy right away.
Yeah, Maroon, do you ever play games like this?
I used to play them a lot
Mm,
when I was younger.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten back into them.
Are you a
They
little
give me
slime?
like all nostalgic
Oh, great.
feelings when I watch this kind of stuff. Are you like a little
Oh,
berry?
yeah. I think so. It's a
Hi,
garden.
I'm the developer for Garden Story. One of my goals for Garden Story is to inspire community stewardship and showcase the importance of coming together to help one another when times get tough. I hope players enjoy the world that I've created and perhaps learn to call it a home away from home.
That's cool.
That's
Hi,
nice.
I'm Jenny from Rose City Games. We're proud to be working with Picogram to bring this game to life and super excited to announce Garden Story will be coming to Nintendo Switch, which means you'll be able to hang with fruity friends both at home and on the
Hey,
go.
that's awesome.
I need to hang with my
Right.
fruity friends on the
There's community
go.
to save,
I need it all the time.
action-adventure
Where my
game,
fruity
Garden
friends at?
Where are they at though?
While newly appointed Guardian Concord may
Puzzles.
only be a grape fresh off the vine, It's up to them to help rebuild their
You're a
community
grape.
and stave off the dangerous rock.
They did surgery on a grape.
Cultivate friendships, gather precious resources, and restore buildings to help unite the Grove, so everyone can enjoy the fruits of their labor together.
Garden Story.
I was trying to see if there was
will bloom on
seaweed at one
Nintendo
point, or
Switch
like they're not
next year.
underwater. Oh, next year. Oh.
You've crash-landed on an alien world, and the only way to go is down.
Oh wow, are they bringing this to the Switch?
Surrounded by water.
Subnautica!
Wow. I would have never thought you could do this on the Switch.
You played this on PC, right?
Yeah.
How do you think the Switch is going to compare? I already noticed a graphics difference.
For sure. If they give it that more of the
If you
kind of
really
like
want
this
to delve
shell
deep, build your
cell
own
shaded
submarine.
feeling, I think it'll
The
do
exotic
well.
flora
But
Yeah.
and fauna that call this
having this
planet
game on the
home.
go is really
Just
cool.
watch out for some of the more aggressive animals that
Ooh.
may
Oh
my
not
God, you
take
do have to
kindly
watch out for
your
those.
expeditions.
No, they do not take kindly.
And for explorers seeking a frozen adventure, the sequel, Subnautica
Oh, nice.
Below Zero.
Wow.
Oh.
Divers trying to survive the frigid temperatures of Planet 45116.
Whoa!
Subnautica
Crazy.
and Subnautica Below Zero will both launch on Nintendo
Nice.
Switch next year.
Wow.
Wicked, says chat.
This animation style really is something,
Whoa.
Ariko.
Whoa.
As young
It's like
game
stop
designer to be,
motion.
Takeshi, your goal is to entertain your little brother Hiroshi with the latest chapter of your game in this charming RPG.
Choose the monsters that Hiroshi faces on his quest and craft cool challenges, but don't make things too difficult.
It's like a game where you create a
You'll need to strike
game.
a delicate balance
Yeah.
to make your game a truly unforgettable adventure.
You gotta make sure to really impress your
Discover
your,
this
your sibling.
heartwarming tale of brotherly bonding.
Aww.
when
Oh, is he in the
Takeshi and Hiroshi
hospital?
Launches on Nintendo Switch later today.
Hits you all in the fields.
Why is Nintendo so wholesome?
I was thinking that too. I was like, all of these wholesome games.
Right? Oh, this is cool.
Getting like Mark of Cree vibes.
Oh. Very Prince of Persia-y.
Yeah, that too as well. Oh my god. This looks fun.
This looks cool. Whoa!
Oh wow.
An ancient
Nice.
epic.
I'm about to be dropping some money on the
Hi,
Nintendo
I'm
Switch
Shruti
store.
Ghosh, one of the co-founders and art directors at Nodding Heads Games. I'm here to talk to you about our very first title, Raji, an Ancient Epic. Raji is an action-adventure game set in ancient India that dives deep into the rich tapestry of Indian culture, taking inspiration from
That's
Hindu
cool.
and Balinese mythology.
Very
All
cool.
of us here
Also
at the
doubly
studio
cool because
have
usually
grown up hearing
stories like
such
this are told
wonderful
through
fairy
like
tales
Tomb
of
Raider,
epic
where it's still like a
surrounded
European
Yeah.
lens of other cultures versus just a culture.
Yeah,
diversity India has to offer.
that's
We
awesome.
hope you'll enjoy
Super
playing
cool.
Raji as much as we have loved and enjoyed making it.
Good for them.
Defend the world against
Big
the
ups.
forces
Also
of
love
mighty
learning in a
Lord.
gamified
And
experience
Raji
too.
is
Yeah.
an ancient epic.
In this intense action adventure, mastering divine weapons such as the fearsome Sharanga bow and the three-pronged Trishula is vital to your survival.
With the striking
I hope the
art
music's
based
like
on
this throughout the
ancient
game.
Pahari paintings
Yeah.
And the medieval architecture of Rajasthan. This is an adventure unlike any you've seen before.
Yeah, indie games are definitely
Polish your
underrated.
weapons and
Yes.
get ready to
Oh my
battle
God.
when Raji, an
That's
ancient
why I want to
epic,
see more of like what
releases
like Epic
later
Games is
today
doing with like
as a
these
timed
bigger
console exclusive
companies
on Nintendo
being
Switch.
putting aside money to invest in indie developers.
From decorating the rooms to attracting new customers.
This
to
is a
managing
nice
your
sofa.
guests.
Aaron
It's barely
Burr?
a dull moment in quaint management.
Bear
adventures.
and Breakfast.
Bear and
What an
Breakfast.
adorable name.
As fresh-faced innkeeper Hank, it's your job to turn this
Hank the
dilapidated
bear.
shack
He's
into a thriving
fresh-faced.
Customize
Oh, I could
each
see
room
myself
to your
sinking a
heart's
lot of time
content.
into this.
Increase your
Yeah.
I love
establishment's reputation
customization.
and watch
Yeah.
as customers
Oh my God.
flood in to stay at your little slice of paradise. Did we mention Hank's the bear?
Just be
Yep.
careful about what dwells deep within the forest as your business expands. You never know what secrets
Ooh.
are hiding out there in the wilderness.
Ooh.
Be among the first to book your reservation.
Yeah, hotel
when Bear and
management.
Breakfast launches
Yeah.
on Nintendo Switch as a time console exclusive next year.
I like how there's a good mix of games
Lace up
releasing
your
now
walking boots,
and
Ariko.
next
We're
year.
going on a hike.
Explore the peaceful mountain landscapes of Hawk Peak Provincial Park in a short hike. A game all about going at your own pace.
This game looks really cool, but the pixels are kind of hurting my eyes. I don't know if that's just like an initial impression or if playing the game, I'll kind of be like, it looks like they're out of focus.
Yeah, this definitely has that, like,
Make sure to
I don't
say hi
like
to
it
the other
because I'm
hikers
so
making
used
their way
to
around the park too.
what's new,
They're
but
bound to lend you a helping
maybe
hand.
get used to it.
You
Yeah.
can even go for a jaunt on the water, should the mood strike you.
You'll be able to hit the trail very soon, as a short hike launches later today.
Yeah,
on
definitely
Nintendo
it
Switch
feels
as a
intentional, but
time
it's also
console
like my,
exclusive.
like looking at it, I'm like, no, but
Right.
yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Ooh. Is this like poker? The
Oh,
audio
snap,
design
what?
is great.
Yeah.
Oh,
A game about cheating at cards.
oh my god.
Whoa.
That's cool.
The awesome went right out the window.
Yeah, yeah.
My name is Nikolai Toshinsky. I am delighted to present to you Card Shark, a new game from Neri, the team that builds your reigns, kings and queens.
Is he gonna do a magic trick? Is he gonna cheat right in front of our eyes?
I am both the artist and the card sheet. As a wild card of its genre, our game will teach you real card tricks and manipulations. We are thrilled to bring Card Shark to the Nintendo Switch.
Wait, I thought he was gonna do something with those cards.
Police and
He was
cheats
just gonna
away
show you
from
it was
top
all
of
atheists.
18th century French society in Card Shark, a new adventure that's all about playing your cards right.
As you move from the parlor to the king's table, build up your array of card tricks and use your ill-gotten gains to buy your way into some truly high-stakes games.
Oh.
Just make sure you don't get caught. Your fellow gamesters
you're
do
going to
not
die.
take kindly to cheaters.
This is really innovative.
Card Shark will make its opening gambit on Nintendo Switch next year.
Looking forward to this one.
That's such a cool idea. Oh snap. Little like Diablo feel right there.
Yeah.
It's like steampunk.
Yeah, I kind of.
The sound of gold and loot dropping is always like I'm there. Oh, Torchlight 3. Wow.
Have you played the Torchlight games?
No, I know the
Glory
series has
here
been around for like a
with
long
the
time.
of Vestria,
I just
and
know
it's
I've still
up to
seen
you
ads
and
for
fellow
Torchlight
heroes
2.
of the frontier to go and find them.
Set a century after the events of the previous game, Torchlight 3 tasks you with delving into the foul dungeons of Alburn to take on
The
powerful
abilities look
foes
cool.
and collect
They do.
more precious treasure.
For those who wish to flaunt their glittering hoard, you can build your own forts, where you
Very
can upgrade
nice.
and show off your gear to the world.
Is it gonna be like Marvel's Avengers War Table,
And
where you
animal
design your
lovers will be happy to know
That's
that
cool.
fort?
take their return, complete with
Yeah!
Nice.
Bringing in the
on a
pets.
journey for even shinier plunder.
Do I get to pet the
Your
alpaca?
legend
Yes, you
awaits
do.
when
I'm in.
Torchlight 3 comes to Nintendo Switch
Insta
this
buy.
fall.
You can pet
Insta
them.
buy.
And when it does, adventurers on Nintendo Switch will get this exclusive Red Fairy pet.
I don't know about you, Tyler, but I feel like I'm in an optical illusion.
Yeah, the
Manifold Garden draws inspiration from
The Escher painting,
physics-defying
right?
artworks to create
Yeah, I
some
think
truly
so.
mind-bending puzzles where gravity is yours to manipulate.
You'll need to change your perspective if you hope to navigate through these infinitely.
These puzzles are always so
structures.
trippy.
Don't worry
Yeah.
about falling infinitely, though. Gravity will bring you right back where you started, should
That's
you
cool.
take a wrong turn.
Wrap your head around these perspective-twisting puzzles soon.
As Manifold Garden releases later today
Nice.
on Nintendo Switch.
I love how there's no transition. It's just like next game, next game, next
Yeah.
game.
This is how your game showcases need to be.
Yes. This feels a little bit like Ori.
I was just thinking Ori, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Good music.
This has that Unravel feel where you journey through it and it has like the memories playing out as you play.
Oh, mm-hmm. Save the afterlife.
Another one of those themes.
Yeah.
Hi, my name's Kent. I'm
Hi,
the director
Kent.
of Evergate.
And I'm Cynthia.
Hi,
And I'm
Cynthia.
the lead artist on Evergate. Evergate has been a passion project for the last 4 years. It is a dreamlike 2D puzzle platformer set in the afterlife where you must guide a childlike spirit named Key on a journey through life.
So much spirit guiding. I'm about it.
Yeah.
With Evergate,
Yeah.
we wanted to introduce a fresh, new mechanic, the Soul Flame, that gives players an extraordinary flexibility in how they navigate the afterlife, while also giving an
Yeah, I agree, Meg.
experience
This is
with heartfelt
Nintendo's definitely the
that
place
we
for
hope will
indie
touch
games.
players
Yeah,
with its innocence
hands down.
and humanity.
Thank you to everyone who has supported us in making this.
Waffles, like, do we need more quirky platformers, though? I think so. I think you could never really have enough.
I was gonna say, can you have
Help
enough?
Key traverse the afterlife in Evergate, a haunting.
I mean, how
yet
many
beautiful
iterations of
adventure
Mario
full of
are there?
games.
True.
It's like, it's
As
too
you
much. It's
journey
never
through
too
this ethereal world, use Key's
Yeah, no one's saying
powerful
there's too
soul
much
flame to
Mario.
slow down time and unleash the unexpected powers hidden within the mysterious crystals that dot the landscape.
It's true. There's a lot of battle
With
royales that
clever
were kind
use
of like,
the
okay,
Soul
this is
Flame,
enough.
unlock the power of multiple crystals to solve challenging puzzles.
Experience this touching story about two kindred spirits when Evergate launches later today on Nintendo
Hey.
Switch.
A lot of these games are like announced
It's
and
almost
they're
time
out.
for us to wrap
So
this up.
cool.
But before we go, here's a quick glimpse at even more indie games that our partners
Bring it
from
on.
around the world
Bring
are
it!
currently hard at work on. Let's check them out.
Haven.
Oh, it's cool.
Of course.
All right.
This music is a banger. I'm about
It really is,
Haven.
yeah.
It felt a little bit shorter online-y to me.
God, your eyes are blue.
Ooh.
That's cool. A sled dog experience.
Little
Oh, that's a
bear.
sleeping bear.
Nice. That's cool.
Oh wow. All right.
What's this?
I don't know. Getting those binding of Isaac vibes.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, great pixel art.
Yeah.
Oh. This feels kind of like Yumi Niku, I think it's called. It's like a nightmare game. This looks fun.
Okay. I need this track.
Yeah.
That's what I need.
And that's our show. Thank
Wow.
you so much to all of them. Was that you, Tyler?
Oh no, they're loose.
That's right. I remember seeing this.
Roll the train!
They're bringing this to the Switch.
Oh, right. I was wondering what was
This-
happening. And
This
co-op.
is so good. Really?
Yeah, they're
Wow.
bringing co-op too.
Oh my god. This is a great addition to the Switch library.
This is so good. I think this will be the ultimate co-op experience.
Oh my god, I cannot wait. This is a game I'm definitely going to be playing with Kika. Oh my goodness, like, I feel like, hey, we got to play this. It's co-op. It's going to be so much fun. We just wreak havoc as these geese. That's so cool.
I love that.
Coming soon. No, what's the date? Give us a date. Ah, no date.
Is it over? Whew.
As
Oh
always,
no.
it was a pleasure.
I think it's at September though.
By the way, we're hosting an indie sale over on Nintendo.
And a
Switch
sale.
on Nintendo
Nintendo does so
including
much for
discounts on
indie
some of the games we
developers.
showed in
Like
today's
even just
presentation.
doing this
Make sure to
showcase,
check
like
it out
a lot of
later
people are
today.
tuning in. Like when this came out
On behalf
on
of
Monday,
everyone at Nintendo,
yesterday,
a big thank you to
it was
all
like,
of our
you know,
amazing
the
partners
talk
and developers
of
who are
like the
hard
talk
at
of the
work
gaming
bringing
world of like,
their
oh, did you
labors of
see
love
did you
to
see the
Nintendo
showcase?
Switch.
You know, what was your reaction to the
course.
showcase? Like Nintendo really does, you know, do a great job spotlighting these games for developers.
They really do. And as we've kind of just discussed in the past before, is like indie developers, they need that space of assistance from these, you know, these major names, these big players in the industry, and Nintendo going, hey, look, guys, we're going to dedicate this entire, you know, video and this showcase to you. You know, you have 609,000 viewers in 24 hours on that. How many of
Yeah.
those people are like, I'll buy into these developers' games, that these indie developers are like, I have people looking at my game that would have never heard anything about it had Nintendo not given us the stage.
And I think it makes Nintendo themselves look a lot more grounded, you know, just to be like, hey, you know, these are indie developers. Check out these indie developers. You know, we know you love, you know, our big name titles like Zelda or Mario and things like that. But when they do spotlight these developers, I think it makes me feel like they're really, you know, more tuned into the community. And even though maybe indie sales, I don't know how big indie sales are, but maybe they're not as big as, you know, their main titles, I think it's still, it helps curate their brand image to seem like they really care about, you know, they care about gamers, they care about the community.
Yeah, and it makes me think of what Phil Spencer was saying when he was doing the animal talking thing, where he was talking about how they are this, you know, this space that needs to be protected, and it needs to remain that way. Like the more we see them do stuff like this, the more I want to see that kind of like lead by example, where other developers, other big distributors, and you know, gaming studios go, hey guys, let's do this too. You know, like we know that Epic Games set aside money for in indie development. I want to see them put on a showcase. You know, see a place like Ubisoft put on a showcase. See a place like, you know, even go bigger with PlayStation and Xbox. Like they just put aside these like, hey, we're gonna help you guys out because you are necessary and vital to the overall health of the gaming industry.
And it doesn't cost that much for Nintendo, at least I'd assume so, to, you know, cut together this 23-minute video and just throw it on their YouTube, you know, and it's really, I feel like, not a lot of cost for a big reward. When I was looking up some articles about the showcase, a lot of you know, like gaming news outlets said like, oh, well, there weren't that many big announcements from the showcase. Like there wasn't anything that was crazy standout. And I'm like, that's the point, that these are indie games that you probably haven't heard of before that you now get a chance to see.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be like, oh, big announcement of this AAA. No, it's supposed to be like, hey, take a look at what these independent developers are doing. These 1, 2, 10-man teams of individuals that are coming together and passionate, you know, like the Raji one, that you get to see these individuals who are like, we want to tell our story based on our history and root it in, you know, a gameplay that is familiar. And it's like, yes, like give them the stage, let them talk, let them show, and hopefully they'll be jumping into bigger titles later on.
I hope so too. Waffle mentions the Xbox, you know, Xbox and Microsoft is in a position to do something with their store and indie stuff. I think it would be cool if, like, let's say the Xbox Game Pass had a lot of indie titles and they kind of had a reputation for like, oh, if you're looking for indie games, like the Xbox Game Pass, you know, has a lot of great titles. Kind of like how there's kind of a bad reputation for Netflix originals in general, but, you know, people know what Netflix originals are. You know, if there was like, you know, this indie is exclusive to like the Game Pass or something like that. I think there's a potential to build up a reputation of like, if it's on the Game Pass store, it's going to be a great game. Like you can trust Microsoft with kind of curating this for you. I think, might be something for them to look into. But I think this is great for, for the ecosystem of gaming, and for the market to, shine more light on these indie studios, these indie developers, and these projects. And it's great for gamers too. I want to see more stuff like this.
Yeah, and like Sequazi was saying there too, that Nintendo did have it seemed like a hurdle early on, not early on, a few years ago with getting indie developers and seeing more of that. And they really have done this 180. It just seems like more and more indie studios are saying, hey, I want to go and make games that are specifically for Nintendo's technology. And it's cool to see them kind of, just seem to like they open this door and just a floodgate of these developers have just poured in.
And I think it's also a great platform where, for indie developers in general, I think there's less pressure to have high graphics, but especially on the Switch, even if you wanted to have great graphics, you can't really. So I think it's also, great that some of these games are maybe a little less, control heavy. Hopefully you're not going to be wearing out your Joy-Cons as fast, and it's I think more suitable,
no Joy-Con drift.
Yeah, no drift, please. But I think it's, more suitable for a handheld to have games that maybe aren't so, like time combat, pressure heavy.
Yeah, exactly. And just hats off to you guys over at Nintendo doing just a more amazing stuff with independent developers. But that does bring us to the end of the Daily Gaming News Hour.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome, Mr. Going, to the stream. That does bring us to the end of our broadcast for today, August 19th on Daily Gaming News.
Don't forget, we are live Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We also have VODs that you can check out on our channel as well as on our YouTube channel. So for those of you liking, subscribing, following, thank you so much. This is not possible without you amazing DGN fans.
Thank you so much for joining us, and we are on the up and up with new segments. As always, tomorrow we'll be talking about On This Day in Gaming History, and on Friday we've got an interview with game developer. Our first interview. We'll be posting more about that, so make sure you tune in. We are live from 1 to 2 p.m. Pacific every weekday, and again, we've got VODs up. If you're watching a VOD, we are live. Come join the chat. Come check us out. Follow, subscribe, get all your latest daily gaming news.
For Daily Gaming News, I am Marrone.
I am Kaisa. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll catch you tomorrow.
See you next time, everybody.